What's up, everyone? It's Mike Randle here from FTN, Chief Content Officer, reminding you that just because the NFL regular season is stopped doesn't mean that we stop. We're here today to give you a rundown about all the great best ball tournaments that are happening at Underdog Fantasy. Right now, Underdog has two big contests, the Gauntlet, which is almost filled, and the Mitten. These are 10-round competitions with 6 players per each round, and you draft 10 players, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers and tight ends, and a flex. And these contests are different than their regular ones, $3, $5, $10, and $25, which go throughout the duration of the NFL playoffs. The Gauntlet and the Mitten go round by round, and 1 or 2 teams advance from each round before you get to the final round of the Super Bowl. Each of those rounds match up to the 4 rounds of the NFL playoffs, the wild card, the divisional competition, the conference championships, and the Super Bowl. There are 4 keys I'm going to give you right now to help you improve your chances of winning in these best ball competitions. The first is balance. Like Mr. Miyagi said, Danielson, balance. You have to have balance among the 10 players on your team. Now, you have Philadelphia and Kansas City with first-round buys. So certainly you want to draft players from the other teams who are going to play this weekend. Otherwise, you can't get out of that first wild card round. But the problem is Philadelphia and Kansas City only need 2 wins to reach the Super Bowl, and that's what you want, Super Bowl representation. So you have to balance the players that are playing this weekend as well as taking a few players from both Philadelphia and Kansas City to make sure you increase your chances. The next is the Super Bowl. You need to have as many players as possible in the Super Bowl. It's the final game. When you get there, you will lose some of your team, but you need to have as many as possible to increase your chances of winning that final round. Now, what you could do in this situation is find a team that you like and try to put a stack together. Let's say you like the Eagles and you took Jalen Hurts first. Why not spend a late round pick, 9th or 10th round, on a Kenny Gainwell or Quez Watkins because they'll still be there. With Kansas City, do you like Patrick Mahomes? Maybe you could grab Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe you could grab Jerick McKinnon or even a wide receiver on that team and just throw a dart hoping they make the finals. Third, make sure you know some tournament differences. With the Mitten and the Gauntlet, there's a slight difference. With the Gauntlet, only 1 team advances out of each of the 6 teams and going into the next round. With the Mitten, 2 teams of each pot of 6 teams advance each time. So if you're in the Mitten, you can take more chances because you don't have to finish first in that first round to advance to the second round. You can actually finish second. So make sure you read and know the differences between the tournaments you're entering. And finally, what you're here for. 4 tips and strategies on players that I'm targeting in these Underdog Best Ball Fantasy competitions. First off, I'm fading the Buccaneers. We all love Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady threw for 432 yards in Week 17, and everyone loves the explosive playmakers. However, they were only 2-3 prior to Week 17, and their offenses struggled both on the ground and in the air. I would rather go with players on Dallas like Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb because I don't think Tampa Bay has a path to make the Super Bowl. Second, don't be afraid of grabbing those big performers on lower-seeded teams. Look at the Chargers. Keenan Allen has been a target magnet since finally getting healthy. He had 14 or more targets in 3 of the prior 5 weeks before Week 18. You should grab players on those lower-seeded teams because they can get hot. Look at a team like the Jaguars. They're home. They beat the Chargers earlier this year. Why not take a Travis Etienne and see if you can get a couple rounds out of him? Don't ignore the lower-seeded players, particularly those who demand a lot of the offensive opportunity. Hint number 3, of course I want a quarterback in the Super Bowl, but I want to have a backup quarterback because if I take a Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes, I'm getting 0 quarterback points in round 1. So make sure to grab a quarterback on a team that you think can actually advance a couple rounds. I like Justin Herbert. If the Chargers win that game, they're going to end up facing the Chiefs, a team that they know they can beat. And if Justin Herbert gets me 3 games, the wild card, the division, and the conference championship, that's a later round pick that is really going to pay off. And finally, number 4, I think the most important in terms of a personnel standpoint here in Underdog, you have to decide to CMC or not to CMC. That is the question. Do you think the Niners can get on the roll? Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to come back? Do you believe that Shanahan is going to make a great run in the playoffs yet again? Then you have to take CMC in round 1, but that means you're passing on Hurts, you're passing on Mahomes, you're passing on a lot of other players. So you really need CMC to reach not only NFC Championship game, but the Super Bowl. But if they do, then that's going to pay off in a big, big way because you're going to have a running back advantage over everyone else in this tournament. I'm Mike Randle, Chief Content Officer here at FTN, giving you some tips for Underdog Fantasy, the great best ball tournaments that they have for the NFL playoffs.